Ron Goodall, FightHype.com. I'm here with Stephen Fulton Jr., who makes his ring return February 1st on Amazon pay-per-view, Las Vegas, who makes his ring return against a rematch of Brandon Figueroa for the WBC Featherweight title. First and foremost, I know that you've been working really hard. I talked to Rob Acosta a little bit, so I already know that training camp is really intense. How ready are you for this fight?
I'm ready, and I'll be more prepared in the next 3 weeks.
hmm I just gotta just lay it out and flat and just be like, I thought you won the first fight. It was a very action-packed fight. You got the win, you got the belt. Like, why take the rematch? Like, you know what I mean? He's up in a bigger weight class. It seems like he's learned from his loss from you. What about it that makes you want to take him, again, when you already got the dub and you could just fight somebody else?
I mean, because I'm fighting for another belt, world title in a different weight class
hmm
against someone I already beat.
Do you
So
Do you think that he's progressed as a fighter in the new weight class, or do you see the same Brandon Figueroa that you fought?
he progressed.
Mhm.
Yes, he has.
I see you smiling. I mean, I already can tell. Like, evasive questions is not really kind of the thing to get out. But what I see is that at that press conference, it seemed like after your last two fights, there's some adversity that you had. It almost seems like people has forgotten that you fought tons of undefeated fighters. You fought the tough guys back to back to back. Do you feel a little bit slighted that even like maybe the bookie odds had you as a wide favorite in the first fight, and now some people are viewing you as the underdog going into this fight?
I didn't even know. I don't pay attention to those
hmm
things, so I wouldn't have known. You just told me that, so I
Okay.
don't pay attention to those things.
But at that press conference, I know that it kind of seemed like you were like people have forgotten. Like I'm Stephen Fulton. Like I've unified the division. I've fought,
Oh,
cleared out the division practically. It's
yeah, I did. Yeah, but you know, it is what it is.
you
So
you you
sometimes you just got to remind people, and then if not, then you know, just move on.
You compare this fight a little bit of like Floyd Mayweather Maidana too, right? And just kind of going in depth. Why would you just kind of compare this fight to that one?
Because everyone thought it was a tough, rough fight for
hmm
Floyd's first fight, and the second time he had to come back and make it a little bit more clear.
hmm
So that's what I referenced it to.
Do you expect Brandon to kind of bring that kind of Maidana relentlessness? Just because you've kind of said you only going to fight one particular style, one particular way. Brandon's mentioned that he has other tools. He can box. He will probably show different elements. Would that be a mistake if he tried to do other stuff?
I mean, I wouldn't say it'd be a mistake, but sometimes people try to do other things than they usually do, and
hmm
I'm not gonna say not all the time it works, but when you get hit with a certain shot, he can fall back to his old ways.
hmm Meaning
If you
that,
haven't been working on those things for like over a year, then you will fall victim to how you used to fight after a while. So
you mentioned that you can knock out Brandon Figueroa, and I know that you have a lot of tools. You can box, you can bang. This is obviously not your first rodeo in a world championship fight. If Brandon gets a little too eager and kind of wants to bring that same type of style, is there a very high chance that he can get put on his ass?
yeah, it's boxing,
hmm
but more so, yes, because I have the tools to do that. People mention power from the record, but the record doesn't define who has the power, and that's what people fail to realize. So yeah. Mhm.
I give you credit for beating Brandon, undefeated, essentially, in my opinion, the big guy in that weight class. Beating him a second time, would you say this is the better version? Like, would you say like this is maybe a more in prime Brandon, or would you say the more in prime Brandon was when you took his O the first time?
I wouldn't even know. It wouldn't even matter. Yeah, it wouldn't even matter. I don't really pay those things any mind anymore. Like
Hmm.
at first I was like like what you just said, like, oh, I beat him at this time. Now I just don't even give a fuck. Like,
Hmm.
I can care less. I beat you. I win. I win. That's the only thing I'm focused on is my win. Me getting a victory. Nothing else matters to me.
Just curious, just what made that, attitude change? Because a lot of champions, when they kind of first get in the scene, they really are like that. But when they kind of done it a little bit, just walk me through like how your mentality kind of became more controlled, it seems.
Um, when you first come into the any sport and you're younger, it's fresh, so you tend to enjoy things a lot more. But then the media, as far as like not you guys, but like the people can steal that joy from you and not make it as fun as it once was. People say make a bunch of dumbass comments daily who have no fucking life at all.
Hmm.
Like people make a bunch of dumbass comments and it's like they bash you, they troll you. Then you do have some actual media outlets who just write bad things about you, or they're supposed to like they're very biased, and then it's like you stop worrying about the fun part of it because they take the fun out of it. As well as you lose one fight, you're a fraud, you're not this person, you're not that guy, and this, that, and third. It's like an ongoing cycle because then guess what? The next up and coming fighter comes upon, and which all these fighters do, they fight no fucking body early in their career. So it's like, oh, he's knocking this guy out, he's knocking that guy out, but who the fuck is that guy he's knocking out? Like, come on, be for real. And then they build the hype up around that fighter, and next thing you know, it's just like he gets into his first test because he was fighting a bunch of fucking who is he's gets into his first test and then he get dropped or hit with a good shot. Then it's oh he's a fraud. But y'all the one who piped this kid up or this guy up this whole time. He hasn't even been tested, and that's like it's like a cycle. All these things happen over and over and over with every other fighter. Oh, he's ready for this person. Soon he knocking out a bunch of who this person, a bunch of nobodies, and it's like, oh, he's ready for this fight. He's ready for that fight. And then once he fights somebody a step above and he look bad, then they're bashing him. But it's like you guys did this to this fighter, So I just don't be caring. I tend to like not care about what the media says or what the people say. I don't put my energy into those things anymore because they can have you going crazy if you allow them. If you care about anything with that, if you care about what someone says about you, I mean, it can make you feel like you're about to lose your fucking mind because you're going to always defend yourself. Like that's like a natural instinct is to defend yourself. So I can say that to these new fighters and the fighters that's already been there. Don't don't crash out over these nobodies out here who has everything to say but not putting any work in the real world. They just want to talk shit about fighters and it don't even have to be a fighter. It's anybody that plays sport or doing better than them, they just talk shit about them. And these people don't do anything with their lives but that. So it's like, don't crash out. Don't get upset. Accept the hate and move on. And that's my words I can say to all the other young fighters under me, the fighters above me that still deal with these things. Don't even worry about it, bro. Because guess what? They're watching us. We're not watching them. We don't even know they exist. Only reason we know they exist because they're saying negative shit. But we don't know they exist. They don't be in the real world. They not gonna say it to our face. You do something, they're gonna sue. It's a lose-lose situation with these people out here. So tighten up. That's all I got to say.
No, that's great. My final couple questions is, would you say that that's the difference from your last fight and this fight? Did you have a little care in that last fight, or were you still,
No, I still don't care.
I mean, the Carlo Castro, like, was that kind of the mindset you had in that fight? And
Yeah, I just don't
Mhm.
care for the I'm in a happy space, like me,
Mhm.
around my peers, my friends, and when I'm in the gym, stuff like that. But when it comes to the actual being around boxing, I don't like it as much as I once did. So I
Mhm.
don't really care what goes on. Like if they say, "Oh, you got to fight this person," all right, fuck it, let's fight. I'm not gonna put too much into the thought of fighting them, but we're gonna fight.
You
But
know,
I don't really care about these things anymore.
Tank kind of when I spoke to Tank said something similar, like kind of like legacy. Like everyone's saying, like you have to, this and that, and we talked about how like Mike Tyson was always pushed for this legacy, but he looks at his belts and kind of was like, this is what kind of people push me to. It doesn't really kind of matter what people. Is that kind of the same testament that you kind of feel like I'm in my world and everyone else is?
Yeah, I don't really care about like as long as I'm happy and I'm good now. That's the only thing that matters to me. I can care less about a lot of things that's going on out here. Especially that's why I don't do a lot of interviews. Like shout out to Andrew for because he a very respectful guy. So I don't mean to like sometimes not answer or respond, but I don't like doing interviews because I just can care less about certain things anymore.
Mhm.
But I understand like I had to do these things and put my feelings aside or put these things aside, to help build the fights as well. So, but I don't really care to do these type of things anymore. Like I remember once, and it became a point I was happy. I was just this happy kid. Now it's just like after I can say after my loss, everything shifted because I seen how everyone reacted, how everyone treated me after me fighting numerous undefeated fighters and dog fights. Nobody was like bigging me up, nothing really. But then when it came down to me losing one fight, then it was just like, oh, he's not shit. He's a fraud. He's ass. He's this. He's that. He's this. He's that. Bunch of media outlets kept posting it, stuff like that. So it's like I can care less now.
Look,
First they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again.
Look, I always appreciate you. I've been covering you for a while. I used to make jokes like, does Al even like you? Because the fighters that you did fight was just, I think, underappreciated on your record. You fought tough guys after tough guys after tough guys. So, personally, in my personal opinion, if you do get the win against Brandon Figueroa, I think it's a bigger and better win than the first time because I think there's a lot more at stake. You're fighting a guy bigger at weight. So, I'm looking at this as equally as a main event as the David Benavidez and David Morrell. So wishing you the best, and any message you want to tell the fans out there that'll be tuning in on Amazon Prime pay-per-view or showing up at the T-Mobile Arena in
No
Vegas,
message. I don't have a message. I don't have a,
I
I don't.
love it. All right. Awesome. Hey, I appreciate it, Scoot.
Thanks.